Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Fantastic. Gabriel Ross.
Hell yeah.
How are you, sir?
Doing good. Happy to be here.
Fuck yeah.
This is cozy. We got AC hanging
Yeah.
out. This is nice.
Yeah, it's fucking brutal out there these days. Yeah, it's like it's like they were right about the warming thing, whatever it's called.
Dude, global warming, I think that just means more beaches.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. Even though people think it's the end of the world, if everyone thought like me, which they should, I hate the cold. You're from Michigan, so you're a little...
I'm from Northern California.
No, you're from Michigan. Why did I think that? Okay, Northern California. Does it get cold up there?
Oh, yeah. I grew up in, like, the snow in the mountains.
Okay, yeah. So how do you...
I fucking love the cold.
You like the cold?
Yeah.
Okay.
So much better.
Skiing?
Skiing.
You like all that?
Just not... The best parts about living in New York is January nights when it's like 10 degrees out and no one's around and you just walk around and it hurts to breathe.
You like that?
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Where you can like smoke cigs and not know when to stop exhaling. Like that Bill Hicks joke.
It's so good. It's so nice.
The cold is way more dangerous, I feel. People die in the heat, but the cold is way worse.
Yeah, but I mean, if you live somewhere, you don't really die in the cold.
Right. Well, barring that, if you didn't have a home, let's pretend none of us have nice places to live.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'd be more likely to die in the heat.
Yeah.
If I was out on the street.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, there's no escaping it. And I think I would be, in New York, I'd more likely to die of the smell.
Yes.
If I had to sit in that for 3 months,
if smells
that would
kill.
do it.
Yeah. Well, see, everyone has the argument about the cold is you can just keep putting on layers.
Yeah.
Which is nice if you got them.
Yeah, throw on some layers or just move around.
But if you're not afraid to get naked, you could make the same argument for it being too hot. If you had no
if
shame.
you're naked out there today, you're still fucking sweating.
You think so?
It's
so
because
hot.
Then what are you gonna do once you get naked?
Sit in the shade and eat
the
grapes.
next option is to skin yourself alive.
Yes. Yeah. Right. I guess that is true. So you grew up like skiing and shit, snowboarding?
Skiing.
Yeah.
Skiing in the winter, rollerblading in the summer. It's pretty great.
Yeah. I've never been interested in skiing. It terrifies me.
Skiing's I think it's one of those things where you have to start young.
Yeah.
Or else it's an insane thing
Right.
to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because in my mind, as an adult, if I fall and break an ankle,
Yeah.
I'm fucked, right? Like you might have a good job. My job isn't, doesn't have a whole bunch of benefits attached to it. So if I snap my shit, I'm out of work, I'm fucked.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. Which is totally not my fault. It's everyone else's.
It's the system's fault.
Sure.
It's the system's fault.
Yeah. I also feel like it's a lot of money to fall and hit your head a lot. Like the first few times you do it, like when you're getting used to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
why you start young. Because I remember it would snow a lot where I grew up, and we had a steep driveway.
Yeah.
So what I do in the winter is I would, the night before we had a big snowfall, I'd push this like beat up skateboard ramp we had into our driveway, and then the snow would land on top of it, and I just had a ski jump in our driveway. So I just launched myself off that.
Wait, so you'd go, it was at the bottom of your hill?
It was I put
you'd
it
go
like
off.
halfway down the driveway.
Okay.
And then I would just like launch off that,
Yeah.
get a few feet of air, and then take my skis off, hike up the driveway, and go down again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I did hurt myself a lot sledding though.
sledding.
Yeah, it was when the Winter Olympics were on when I was a little kid, and I loved to watch the sport skeleton. Do you know the skeleton?
That's like it's like luge but worse, right?
It's like luge, but you go down head first instead of feet first.
Right.
So I watched that, and I'm like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So I just pulled out a sled and just running start down the backyard face first into a tree.
Fuck.
And then like I'm pretty sure I got pretty
Pull
badly.
that mic a little closer, like
A little
more
closer?
in your path. Like,
All
you're
right, cool,
facing-
yeah. So I got like concussed and all that, and then my teeth were all fucked up too. I had to get like 2 root canals.
Damn. Smashed your face into a tree.
Yeah.
That's I mean, luge is already dangerous as fuck. That shit. I was talking about that with somebody the other day. People get.
Is that like bobsledding?
Yeah, it's but one man.
One man.
It's one person.
Okay.
Bobsled, there's 2, I think, and then there's 4, and I think there might be 5 person bobsled teams. But luge is just one dude on a sled.
Why did I think bobsledding was the thing with the dogs, like the Iditarod? Is
That's
that what it's
dog
called?
sledding.
That's dog sledding.
Dog sledding. Fuck.
Bobsled. You ever see Cool Runnings?
Yeah, it's like the Jamaican
Yeah,
bobsledding
bobsledding
team.
Jamaican bobsled team.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
It's the best Disney movie.
That was a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Damn.
Sansa, you dead man.
Wangwan, brother.
It's a phenomenal movie.
Interesting. That's with Cuba Gooding Jr., right? Is he
No.
in that one?
No.
No. Fuck. He's
Get
in
back
the
to
one
the
with the
dogs.
dogs. He's
Snow
the fucking
dogs. Snow dogs.
Snow dogs. Yeah,
Snow dogs?
yeah.
I don't think I ever saw Snow Dogs.
Yeah, he's like a dentist or something, and then he goes and fucking races with horses. Not horses, dogs or whatever.
Dogs?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked. Yeah.
There's a good movie called 8 Below about
Oh, Paul
So-
Walker, right?
yeah. Oh yeah, that's got Paul Walker in it.
R.I.P.
Where it's this dude has this team of snow dogs, and he lives in Antarctica, North
Mm.
Pole, one of those.
I think he's like a scientist.
He's
right?
a scientist
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something, and then he has a team of dogs, and he cruises around doing science stuff.
Well, neither of those places exist, right?
North
Antarctica
Pole and Antarctica.
or the North Pole.
Is that the genre of this podcast?
That's no, but have you found a picture of Antarctica?
yeah.
You have.
Yeah, if you Google images Antarctica,
Yeah.
like a bunch will pop up.
You think? Can we do that?
Sure.
Yeah. Watch what pops up. It's not what you think. It's like computer-generated pictures of Antarctica. There's no like
Are you
real
using
image.
Brave?
You got to use Brave. Look, that's all not real. No, it's probably real.
It looks really real.
That looks pretty
Yeah,
real,
I was-
right?
yeah, I think
Should I
that's
do
pretty
satellite
real.
image maybe?
Satellite image, yeah.
Satellite, yeah, it's
It'll be.
right at the yeah, there it is.
Oh, yeah, it looks sick.
That's
That looks computer generated.
Yeah, right. That doesn't look real.
No, this looks real.
Some of it's real.
That looks real.
Yeah, that one.
it seems
Yeah, that's wild. I don't know where I heard that. That Antarctica is not real, but it.
I'm sure there's a lot of places where you can find that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Now, there's something that I wanted to end up talking to you about because we have a similar past. Yours might be a little more. I mean, this is why I wanted to talk about it
You were
anyway.
a neo-Nazi too?
We were, yeah, I used to have a shaved head like me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you were a stockbroker at one point, or attempting to be one?
No, I told my hippie parents that I wanted to be a stockbroker to piss them off when I was in high
Okay.
school.
Yeah.
Because that was the form of teenage rebellion that attracted me.
Yeah.
I went to high school every day in a shirt and tie and told my mom, who works at an environmental nonprofit, that I wanted to be a stockbroker.
Whoa.
But I
It's usually the opposite.
yeah. But I did spend a year selling predatory financial services.
That sounds like a good time.
It was
Was it fun?
Really fun.
That sounds like fun.
It was fun. Yeah.
Just like scaring people over the phone.
Oh God, yeah. I really ruined a lot of people's lives.
Yeah. So you sold. You did well.
Yeah, no, I was good at it.
Yeah.
I was good at it until I started to get the phone calls from people like 6 months later being like, what the fuck did you do to my life?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't know. I'm just 20 years old and on Adderall. Like, I'm
Sure.
just like having fun.
That's wild. Now, how did you get hooked up with that specific gig? How
How
come you didn't want to sell normal fucking loans?
it was one of those things where you just like, I moved to New York when I was like right out of school. I was 21, and I was like, it was the first place I went in for the interview. 30 minutes, I left. 45 minutes later, they offered me the job, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing. I just wanted to get to New York, and I was like, I'll take whatever I can come by and then go from there.
Yeah. And that was from Cali?
I went to school in upstate New York, Syracuse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So you were like, I mean, I think everyone that comes to New York, not everyone, but everyone looks at like finance as a way to get to New York, I think. Not everyone.
I mean,
but
some
people look at finance as a way to get
some
here.
people come to New York looking to do that.
Yeah.
And then for me, it was like, it is. I've always found it kind of interesting because it's the invisible levers that make our world function the way it does.
Yeah.
So just like the power behind it is kind of interesting. But I was just looking for jobs, and that's what came.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was trying to do a similar thing. I graduated from college, and I went to Melville, Long Island, for an interview. Like, I got a hotel and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sick.
That's
And
basically where I work now.
Oh, really? Yeah. Some creepy dude, I forget his name, looked kind of like Gary Busey. Was like, he interviewed me and all this I guess if you want to call it that. He just kind of talked.
Yeah.
And he's like, you want to do this, right? I'm like, of course I want to do this. And, yeah, he offered me the job. I didn't take that one. I took one in Boston. That one was straight stockbroker. In
The
Boston.
one in Long Island?
Yeah. In Boston, it was like a financial advisor,
Oh, okay.
which is
Yeah, was it one of those things where you like, they basically don't give you any salary, and it's like, do whatever you can to bring in business?
Exactly.
Sell your grandparents' life insurance kind of thing?
Yeah. Call old people and scare them.
Oh, yeah.
The end's coming. You got to buy. You know.
Totally.
Yeah. That's not what they said, but that's what they meant.
Yeah, that's what they meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I sold this like weird ass debt consolidation program that was like, it's fine if people know that's what they're doing,
Sure.
but we just like hid what it was as much as possible,
Right.
and like made it be like, yeah, this is a good idea. It's definitely not bankruptcy, but it was basically bankruptcy.
Well, go ahead.
And then I met some people doing that, and then I had this night hustle for a little while where we sold gold coins over the phone. And that
I don't know which one's worse.
that that was just me and like this guy Luis and my friend Jamal. Where I don't know how this guy rented an office in Midtown.
Yeah.
But he had this one, like, this tiny ass office in Midtown where we would just smoke blunts and try to sell gold coins to old people.
That's high level. That's high. I mean, if you're gonna sell gold coins to old people, you got to get high.
You gotta,
Yeah.
You gotta do it in the most luxurious way possible.
Yeah.
And that was.
That sounds like that honestly
It
sounds
was
like
kind
fun.
of fun.
That sounds like fun.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Where we would just fuck with each other over the phone. There's this one. I only did it for like a month until I realized I have better things to be doing with my time.
Right.
But so you had like a call center jobs, right?
I had that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Where
yeah.
the main thing to do in a call center is to fuck with people that are on the phone next to you. Like whisper wild things in their ear to try and make them break while they're leaving a voicemail for whoever. So that's what we do, especially with selling gold coins, because nobody picked up our phone calls. And if someone did pick up, it was the family member of someone who had died.
Sure.
And that the person who had died had bought gold coins in the past.
And you had their name
And
in
we
the
just
database.
had their name on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So I was like dialing the phone, and I had hit like 3 in a row where I was like, hello, is so-and-so there? And then some woman would be like, no, he passed away. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Well, do you want to buy gold coins? And then we move on to the next one. And so after like 3 in a row of these, I like called and was like, oh, hello, is Richard there? And my friend Jamel, who just like took a hit of a blunt and was like, nah, he dead. And then at the same time, the woman said, oh, he passed away last month. And I just burst out laughing. So I can just imagine it from her side of the phone.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hi, is Richard there? No, he died. Ha!
Yeah.
And then I like covered up and was like, I'm so sorry. Do you want to buy any gold coins?
Yeah. My coworker was smoking a blunt next to me. Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah. But that's, I don't know, that's one of the fun things about coming to New York, where when you like your main skill is like talking decently and bullshitting, and you can kind of talk your way through most situations. So you don't have any legitimate skills, so you just get some phone sales job.
Sure.
That's it's fun.
Which most of those people who do those jobs are in rough shape.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that are telemarketing, they're fucked. They're catching the bus.
Yeah. This company was wild because it was we would get some like high achieving kids who were like, this job you could realistically make more money. Like you could make pretty good money for someone fresh out of school without any real skills. So it attracted just motivated kids right out of college, but also just career scumbags and degenerates.
Yeah.
There was this one guy who had a habit of just blacking out on Xanax
At work. Yeah.
And he said he was an alchemist.
An alchemist.
Yeah.
A person that works with metal.
Yeah, turns lead into gold and stuff like that. So that's
I believe him. Just sitting here listening to you.
yeah, he would just get fucked up on Xanax and like just scream about alchemy.
That's got to be a fun time, though.
It was
getting fucked
the
up.
first 7 months of it were some of the most fun because I didn't know any better and I was just drunk and high and was like, all right, let's make some money.
Yeah.
But you burn out of that pretty quick.
Yeah, that makes sense. When I was doing the, when I left the fucking wealth management thing, I was looking for something else to do, and I went to like a marketing agency that worked for Verizon, and they were the people that would like knock on your door and be like, "Is everything working well? By the way, if you want to, whatever." And I remember speaking to a kid there, and he's like, "Man, how much money you make at that other job?" And I'm like, "Oh, you could make, good money." I told him, some number. And he's like, "Man, you can make $700 a day at this." I'm like, "I don't know if that's true. We're knocking on doors for Verizon." I was talking to, professionals and people that had, some money to kind of spend on life insurance and that type of shit. You could definitely make more money doing that than selling Verizon products. And it was really weird because everyone would like carpool to neighborhoods, but before they'd get to the neighborhood, everybody would go to a Cumberland Farms and just ravage the place, get snacks, like those sandwiches that have been wrapped for 12 days.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone would just house those, and then they're like, all right, let's sell. Let's make some money. It's a wacky thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Some people are so good at it, though.
Some people are very good. Gift
just
to gab.
so incredibly charming.
Yeah.
I'm good at it because I'm good at listening to people
Mm.
and then just like remembering it all and bringing it up and be like, so you should buy this.
Yeah.
Just making people feel comfortable. But some people are so convincing. I had a different sales job. I had one friend who like paid his way through college selling books door to door, which I don't even know how you do that.
Yeah.
Just knock on people's door and was like, do you want to buy books?
Nobody reads, especially now.
Yeah, and like he went to school in like Kentucky.
Oh.
And I was like, how do you make enough money to pay for college?
Yeah.
By knocking on doors and selling books.
Yeah.
Like while Amazon's a thing.
Sure. That's a good point, too.
Yeah.
People from the South, they're good at, like, just making friends, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, I got a good buddy from Kentucky, and he's fucking He'll talk to
They're
a wall.
charming as hell.
Yeah, they're really good at it. It's like the hospitality thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what's funny is that most people who don't go to school for that, for finance in any degree, they really don't know shit. A lot of people, you talk to them and they're like, my 401k, and that's all they really know. You know, and that's
Yeah.
fine. You know, most people are fine with that. But that's where it ends. They're like, yeah, my job takes care of it. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know?
people are generally dumb as hell with money. I've been watching a lot of these YouTube videos where this guy like helps people who are fucked about their money, but does it by just being horrifically mean to them.
Yeah.
Is it Dave Ramsey? Is that his name?
No,
That guy.
Dave Ramsey's solid. It's this
He's
guy,
like solid, right?
I think
Yeah.
his name's like Caleb Hammer or something.
Okay.
And he just talks to people who are just absolutely fucked financially and just screams at them.
Yeah.
it's
That's a
just-
good way to do it.
It's just good.
Yeah, he's like the David Goggins of
Yeah,
fucking
but
finance.
he just attacks them on such a deeply personal level.
Yeah.
But like you're failing your children right now. And it's just good. It's like nice.
He's like Gordon Ramsay on fucking
Yeah.
Kitchen Nightmares. Yeah, it's sick. When you're in, so you went to school for,
Sport management and
Ah.
economics.
okay.
I want to work in sports. Like I wanted to when I was a kid, because I thought that seemed cool. But I don't know. Someone wins, someone loses. Who cares?
That's whatever, right. As you get older, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I still like it. I like the spectacle of like cheering for something.
Yeah.
It's nice to care about something.
Yeah.
It feels good.
That is
You're like,
true.
That
yeah.
is oh cool. This team won. That feels good.
Right.
Like that's nice.
But if that's your entire
Yeah,
existence.
but like I sold that was one of my earlier sales jobs. I just sold like season tickets for college sports over the phone,
Yeah.
which that was like
That can't be too hard.
it depends how the team is doing.
Okay.
And they didn't hook us up with our like good basketball team at Syracuse. They gave us our football team that like finishes the season 3-8 every year,
Nice.
and women's basketball, which that was fun to call people who are like just. Do you know upstate New York much?
Not really.
It's basically the South.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Syracuse is, I think, per capita, the most economically depressed city in the country. It's like extension of the Rust Belt. There are some big like factory and manufacturing companies there, but like they went away when everything went to China. So it was just calling up these people who were like plumbers and electricians and be like, hey, do you want to buy season tickets to see college women's basketball?
Yeah.
And they'd just be like,
Shut the
absolutely
fuck
not.
up. Yeah. Yeah.
But like it was, I did all right with that. So and that was fun, because that was also one of those things where it's like you just bullshit with people. And selling sports tickets are fun because people are just so emotionally connected with it, where you can call up someone and be like, "Hey, I'm calling from so and so team," and then they just go in a 10-minute rant about how the stadium sucks, everything's expensive,
Right.
the team sucks, what the fuck were they thinking? And then they at the end of it, they're like, yeah, I'll get tickets.
Yeah. Well, they convince themselves.
Yeah, just because it's the only thing they have.
Sure. Yeah, that is true. I mean, a lot of people are. All they have is the sports team.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not a pro sports team. Like, if you're from a place like Kentucky, they don't have a pro sports team. You got to just
It's all college basketball.
live on the college
yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like college sports so much.
Yeah.
They're so much fun. Just seeing how there's a certain element of randomness in it too, which is nice.
Mm.
And then I worked at Madison Square Garden for a little bit,
Really?
and that was fun. But that was different because, like, it was more of like a legit company. It wasn't just like calling up people and bullshitting.
Right.
You were like selling basketball tickets to like successful finance dudes
Sure.
and millionaires who like, and like selling anything is all about the pain point. So like at that point, the pain point for them was like, I bet you don't spend enough time with your son. Want to get tickets to see the Knicks?
Yeah.
So that's fun to prey on people's
Yeah.
inability to connect with their family.
Yes. I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's what they would always tell us when we would sell life insurance. It's like, you might not, you're not going to be here forever.
You're gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to leave your wife on the street. You don't want to leave your kids fucking struggling. Yeah, that is true. But the thing is like life insurance, there's a clear pain point, like a clear one. Yeah. Whereas you got to be a little more creative with sports tickets, it seems like.
Yeah. And like one of the things they talked about is how like your competition for like getting someone to buy season tickets for the Knicks isn't, they might buy season tickets to the Celtics. Like it's not that. It's they might remodel their kitchen. They might go on vacation.
Yes.
They could do all of these other things.
Yeah.
So why should they buy season tickets to the Knicks?
Sure.
So that's an interesting thing to compete with.
Right. Yeah, I remember when they first put a sports management class in my high school, every dumb fuck that's a cop now picked that thing.
Yeah.
Picked that class.
It was kind of a bullshit degree.
Yeah.
I liked it because they were kind of straight up with us. And we're like, you don't develop any skills in these classes.
Right.
Like, just getting good grades in these classes will do nothing for you in life.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to make them easy so you have time to go out and get a job and actually have a skill. Because no one's going to hire you unless you can walk up to them and be like, hey, if you hire me, I'll be able to do this and this and make you this much money.
Right.
So I liked it because of that, where they were like pretty straight up.
They were just honest.
There, yeah. Versus so many degrees are like, okay, yeah, you know all this stuff, but what are you actually going to do? You have any skills for life?
Right. Well, that's the argument for going to college anyway, right? Like it's, you go, I mean, I guess you learn shit. The thing you learn the most is how to cram and how to get shit done, if that makes sense. Like you kind of, for a lot of people, they move out, they live on their own for the first time, roommates, so you kind of get life skills, but
Yeah, realistically, the biggest skill you get is, okay, I have to put together this paper in 2 hours to convince this teacher that I know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That is being able to bullshit your way through a topic with little knowledge can get you a long ways in life.
That is true. That is pretty invaluable.
That's a decent skill.
That should be on the pamphlet.
Yeah.
When you go to a school, it's like there's a kid in a wheelchair, there's a black girl, and right next to that is like, you'll learn how to bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
All these people know how to bullshit, and you can be one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty sick. Now, do you still keep up on? Were you like into reading about finance and shit? Do you keep up on that type of stuff?
I find it interesting to a certain level.
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point though where it's like, I just see how truly meaningless it all is.
Yeah.
It's like, this company bought this company. This guy made this much money. This guy made this much money. And it's all just like giant organizations writing each other checks just back and forth. Well, like a few people
get super rich.
Yeah. And some people get jobs.
And some people lose jobs.
Yeah. And then they get a job somewhere else. Where it's just all about me. And more, I think it's going to keep going this way, where it's all about just the upper half of the organization making more money, while everyone else gets screwed a little bit more and more and more, until eventually we just have a ruling class and a bunch of homeless people.
So you think it's going to be worse than it already is? Because that's kind of the case now.
Yeah. I could see it getting a lot worse.
Yeah.
Especially when we figure out how to eliminate most jobs with whatever artificial intelligence is going.
Right.
So I think it's just going to get worse. Because, I mean, we're already seeing it where, like, cashier no longer needs to be a job.
Sure, and thank God, because
Yeah.
they suck.
I mean, I don't know. They're fine. I mean, how much can you expect of someone that their entire purpose for making money is scanning a badge and then telling you to swipe your card?
Right.
That's
the thing.
That's
now.
a pointless existence for a human.
Sure. Right. Where you hear people say, old heads, they're like, people don't want to work. Well, the job. First of all, you didn't want to work, lady. Second, the jobs blow. Who the fuck wants to do exactly what you're saying? Who the fuck wants to do that? But then again, you have people that they don't really think outside of that. They're like, I got a job, I get paid. For some people, that's the perfect existence.
Yeah, I like to think that humanity has capabilities to create things.
Yeah, for sure, and I agree.
I think it's nice to think that way. Okay, yeah, it sucks to if the thing that you get paid for is scanning groceries and then telling someone to swipe their card. But if that's what someone needs to do to cover their bills, and then they go out after work and do XYZ creative thing, draw stuff or whatever. I don't know. I like to think that. We'll see.
See, I used to think everybody had something else. But as I meet more people and get older, I feel like not everybody has something else.
Yeah, I mean, most people have nothing. I mean, the majority of people...
They have the sports team.
They go to work
Yeah.
so they can afford to go to the bar and watch the sports team.
Yes.
Or
Right.
go home and watch the show on Netflix.
Right.
Or, I mean, that's realistically the existence for a lot of people.
But to say those things makes you seem like a fucking prick,
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Obviously, you want to think that people have more, and most people do. I mean, a lot of people do have more. But also, you have to take into the account the different standards of living across the whole world. Here, we kind of have the luxury to go and create something.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas people working in mines or people doing fucked up jobs, they're not thinking of, something else.
Yeah, it's the part of it sounds kind of nice, where your most significant challenge in life is making it to tomorrow. Because that's where we were for the majority of history.
Sure.
This trying to achieve something greater than yourself or whatever it is, or have a voice and find your passion, that bullshit, that's pretty new.
Exactly.
Even 100 years ago, that wasn't the case.
Right.
So
We've lived in a state of fighting to survive longer than we have, fighting to be creative or fighting to make something,
Yeah, to make something.
And the hope is that AI takes those shitty jobs and the people who are creative can, be creative.
Yeah, I think the ideal direction to go is at a point where companies and pretty much everything is done by artificial intelligence or automation and machinery, and then there's just a universal standard of living income that people get. And then you can also get a job, but then people are just alive to be alive.
Yeah.
That's the dream, but I don't think, at least in the U.S., that we're going to be able to achieve that.
Well, we've, in a sense, kind of created our own wild. We've kind of created our own... we got out of the actual jungle, and now we created all these new problems. Whereas before, we don't necessarily have to worry about shelter and clothes, and unless you're unhoused. But there's other things we got to worry about, making rent and buying groceries.
Yeah, just maintaining your basic needs, and then also finding a way not to be alone.
Yeah.
And avoiding slipping into the I'm just going to drink and do drugs and slowly die.
Sure. Which, if you're gonna do that, you gotta play a guitar. You gotta be cool. You know.
Gotta play guitar.
You gotta
You got to play guitar and do it really poorly.
Yeah.
But
Learn 6 songs.
you have an expanded mind.
That's right.
So
That's why you
you're
do the
a
drugs.
Genius.
Yeah. Isn't that funny how you can like there's some people that you point to. We were talking about Keith Richards before this.
Yeah.
Where you could classify him as a rock and roll genius.
Yeah.
You know, that specifically though. But if that guy didn't become the guitarist for the Rolling Stones, he's just a drug addict bum who's got maybe some good ideas, but
Yep. And for every for every Keith Richards, there's probably a solid 1,000, 5,000 people who can also play guitar,
yeah.
but they just didn't find the right balance of heroin to guitar.
Sure. Yeah. I love watching anything that guy's involved in.
Yeah.
I love his
He's
interviews.
The coolest.
When he's like indoor, like there's a video of him walking through the White House smoking a cigarette. It's like he's probably drunk.
Yeah.
He's going to go play a 30,000 person stadium after that. He just doesn't give a fuck.
There's this great concert movie that the Stones did mid-late 2000s, maybe 2010, where he steps up to sing a song. I think it's You Got the Silver. And he opens with, before the song starts, he says, "It's good to be here. Fuck, it's good to be anywhere."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that, reading his autobiography when I was freshman, sophomore in college taught me a tremendous amount about life.
Yeah.
Where it's, it like instilled a certain level of zen, where it's like, hey, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. He's Taoist.
Yeah, just when you've nearly died enough times, you're like, hey, it's just good to
hang out.
Just happy to hang out. Yeah.
Which is a good way. I mean, it is a great way to live.
Yeah.
You don't need to do the heroin. You know, you could, but
Yeah.
but just to take the other,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's always good to take from. I feel like you could take a little bit from
Yeah.
all different arts, all different people.
Yeah. The whole drugs expand your mind thing is, I'm pretty sure, just bullshit.
Yeah.
Another Rolling Stone, I was watching this interview with Ronnie Wood where he was like, yeah, we started sprinkling heroin when we rolled our cigarettes into our cigarettes, and that connected all kinds of things in your brain. I was like, no, dude, I think you're just on heroin.
Yeah, it connected the part of your brain that's like, I should steal stuff.
Yeah, I think you're just really high.
Yeah. I don't know about heroin, but psychedelics, there's an argument for it.
Fine, sure.
Have you done psychedelics?
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's just the way you attack. Because I got a buddy who I've tripped with a bunch of times, and he's like, I just do it to get fucked up. I've never come out of a trip better or different.
I thought I did.
Yeah.
Like when I first moved to New York, I was selling acid in Syracuse.
Yeah.
So I had like these like sheets of acid, and I didn't have any money, and I was under 21, so like I didn't go to bars. So what I do on the weekend is I just like take a couple tabs of acid and then just wander around the city for 5-6 hours.
Sure.
And I thought I learned a lot of life lessons there, and maybe some of it's still instilled, but I think I was just high.
Yeah. That is a lot of it, for sure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, apparently people are doing ayahuasca, and they're coming back different.
No, you're not.
It's been... What about, like, what about how it's being used for people with mental health issues? How do you feel about that?
If it works for you, cool.
It's just like any other drug.
I think it's I just think it's. I want to. This is an angle that I'm trying to take in comedy, that weed sucks. Just because I like saying it to hipsters in Brooklyn to piss them off.
Sure.
And I just think that's funny.
It is funny.
Because there's way too much people talking about how awesome weed is.
Right.
And I'm really tired of people like telling stories about that one time that they ate too many edibles and oh my God. So I'm just like trying to take the approach that weed sucks and we should make it illegal again.
Right.
Just because that's funny to me.
That is funny.
Yeah.
And it's an angle that nobody's with
taking.
usually.
Yeah. I was doing a dispensary show in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I went up and I was like, yeah, weed sucks. We should make it illegal again. In like the back of a dispensary when everyone was smoking. And I was like, this is just, it makes me happy that I'm saying this.
Right.
I don't know where to take it, but.
That's how I feel about the show Friends.
Friends. Well, Friends is objectively bad.
It's bad, right? But objectively, I don't know about that.
I
know a
guess
lot of people.
Friends
that
is
love
objectively good.
Yes.
And it's just annoying about how much people like it, so we hate it.
Yes. That could be it.
Yeah, it's very solid, well-written TV. It's not good art, but it's tremendous entertainment.
Yeah, I suppose. I used to work at a pizza shop, and we used to have like a jailbroken Fire Stick. So when it was dead, we would just watch like whatever. And one of the owner's daughters worked. Actually, both of them worked there. And one of them was infatuated with Friends and would just put it on all day. And not only are you sitting in a dead pizzeria in a small town that nobody's coming in and out of, but now you have to watch Friends. It was not good. Luckily, I was a kid. Like, if I was an adult now, 27, and living through that, I'd sit in the oven or something. But, yeah, it was a tough time.
I had a similar thing where it was one summer in upstate New York. I was working at a Greek deli.
Yeah.
And it was the summer, so I think it was just reruns. But I worked like the 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. shift.
Fuck.
In this Greek deli in a college town when college wasn't in session. So it was just townies.
Yeah.
It was just upstate New York townies. And it was just sweltering hot in this deli because I worked the sandwich oven. I made the sandwiches.
Fuck.
So by the end of the summer, I just didn't have hair on my arms.
Yeah.
Because it all got singed off. But the guys were like, oh, yeah, it's sweet. Saturday nights we turn on SNL. And like I like SNL, but it was the summer, so I don't think SNL was on live. So it was, and they talked about how awesome it was, but it was just this like little black and white TV that they had up in the corner. Yeah. So it was like, and then we just watched it on mute. I was like, all right.
So what were we saying about people that don't have anything?
No, but those guys had so much.
Yeah.
That
cool
was
stories.
That
cool
was
stories
a fun. They had cool stories.
Yeah.
They smoked in the kitchen.
Ooh.
Which
just cigs, smoking cigs.
Just cigs in the kitchen.
Oh, that's nice.
It was sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cigs inside is exciting.
It's really exciting when that happens.
Yeah.
But they would like this guy. He would put when he was like mixing up the sauce. He would like put the cigarette so the tip was hanging off the edge of the counter, and then he would just like mix the sauce, and then like take a hit, lean back so it didn't ash in the sauce.
Yeah.
And like lean back away to take a hit, and then put the. And I was like, that's good.
That is nice.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I would walk into the pizza shop early, and my boss would be in there, old Italian guy, chomping on a cigar, rolling calzones, like just fucking, what's up, Aunt? And then I'd go get us coffees, and then he'd put Sambuca in our coffees. And I was like, what, 18? No, younger than that. No, probably 18. And he used to let us all drink, delivery driver included.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was like a year older than me.
Is this in Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had whenever like it was time to like empty out the kegs and get new kegs, we would just like we had like 2 beers on tap, and it was like not good beers, I think there was like a good beer and then like a Budweiser.
Yeah.
And then
domestic.
so we would just empty it all into one pitcher. And then drink
All of it.
and then drink the combined beer. And it was like, what? It was really gross, but it was if
it's free.
If it's 3 a.m. and you just spent the last like 8 hours in a deli, it's the greatest beer you'll ever drink.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's
why people who work in the service industry drink all the time. You know, like I'm a server, and I usually don't work at night, but when I do, we're gonna have a drink after.
Oh,
like
yeah.
everybody's just fucking sick.
Yeah.
They're like we need to get something to drink.
I worked in a Kmart in high school,
Mm.
and that was awful.
That doesn't sound.
It
Retail
was
sounds
so
brutal.
bad,
Yeah.
and especially Kmart, because it's
Kmart.
like it's not Target, so there aren't like good people in it,
Right.
and you just have to deal with so much bullshit. And even like the people aren't the worst thing. It's just like I did like the 6 to 10 shift weeknights after school,
Oh.
and so it was like no one goes to Kmart in a small town in Northern California at 9:30.
Right.
So like the second half of it is just standing around and maybe once every half hour checking someone out.
Yeah.
And that's the bad part, is just standing there
Sure.
for $8 an hour.
Yes.
But I would, as soon as I got to leave, I would just sprint all out across the parking lot, sit down in my car, smoke a joint, and drive home, and just like crank up the music and just scream into the steering wheel.
Fuck yeah.
And I was like, that 12-minute drive home is the best part of it.
Yes. Yeah. What music were you banging? Do you
Just
remember?
Zeppelin. I would
Zeppelin?
just crank up Zeppelin or
Yeah.
Cream.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah,
Fucking
super loud.
screaming.
Green Day too.
Green Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I didn't know that American Idiot was that's what it's called, right? I didn't know that was a rock opera.
Yeah.
I was thinking of writing a bit about rock operas because the only one I knew about was Quadrophenia. And I thought that was the only one. I didn't know there were other ones.
Quadrophenia. That's the Who, right?
The Who, yeah, it was the first one.
They had Tommy too.
Tommy was a song, I think. Right?
Or it might be in Quadrophenia.
Yeah. I think it was a
But
song
they made the
on-
movie about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few rock operas. American Idiot. Who else did rock operas?
I looked up a bunch, and I looked it up for the bit, and there turned out to be way more. Like
There's
the
a
angle-
lot of them.
Yeah. The angle I was taking was that nobody does them anymore. But
Yeah.
a lot of people do.
American Idiot's awesome. I
Yeah.
saw that was like like Green Day was my first favorite band. It was like my brother gave me the Dookie cassette,
Mm.
and I just burned that, like just listened to that until it was gone. And then American Idiot, I remember when that came out, and I was 8 when that came out because it came out in 2004. So that was all that we talked about on the bus home from first grade every day. Was
Just
American Idiot.
Yeah.
And then when I visited New York for the first time with my parents when I was in the 7th grade, we got discounted tickets to see it on Broadway. American Idiot, and that was awesome.
Were any of the members in it?
No.
Yeah.
For a while, Billy Joe was playing one of the characters, but not at that time. And it was so good. And then a few months ago, I went and saw a community theater production of American Idiot.
Yeah.
That was dog shit.
I thought you were going to say it was good. It was actually pretty good.
I
No, it was bad.
I wanted to like it so much.
Yeah.
Just because I love it. I love that that play, but it was so bad.
My brother and I just went to go see Blue Oyster Cult.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And for them being 80,
Still around.
dude,
That's insane.
for them being 80, they fucking killed
They
it.
did smoke. They're the Smoke on the Water band, right?
No, it's Deep Purple.
Oh, that's right.
Colors. Blue,
Blue is
purple.
Deep purple.
No, they
They're
do
basically the same.
Don't Fear the Reaper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The cowbell.
Need more cowbell.
Need more cowbell.
It's funny because he was doing that, like the pantomime of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They killed it. There's something about seeing a band or really any live performance
Yeah.
and they're really good. It's inspiring.
It pumps you up.
Yeah.
I'm seeing Green Day in August.
Nice.
I'm stoked.
That's gonna be fun.
It's like the 30th anniversary of Dookie and the 20th anniversary of American Idiot.
Yeah.
And like they're just doing both albums back to back as their concert. Like,
That'll be fun.
It's gonna be awesome.
How long is the
It's
concert?
probably gonna be like 4 hours. Yeah, because that's a double album. American Idiot's 18 songs,
Fuck.
and one of Jesus of Superbia is like 12 minutes on its own.
Yeah.
But Dookie's like a 35-minute album, so it won't be that long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta really like Green Day.
I fucking love Green
You
Day.
fucking
I
love 'em.
love Green Day so much.
I remember when I was trying to, like, I was fighting with myself to get back into stand-up
Yeah.
because my first stint was very short, and the girl I was dating at the time bought us tickets to go see Tim Dillon in Boston,
Oh, he's so good.
and I was like, I'm doing this again.
Yeah,
He was so fucking good.
he's great.
Yeah. Where did you start? Did you start
I
in?
started here.
In Syracuse.
No, in New York.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, in the city.
What made you do it?
It was always something I wanted to do. I remember watching the Comedy Central roast. The Charlie Sheen roast was so good.
Yeah.
That
I
was
remember that.
so good.
Remember when he was the man for a little bit, Charlie?
Oh, he
Sheen?
was the man.
Yeah.
The Charlie Sheen roast was great. I love Greg Giraldo's roast.
He was so good
So
at roasts.
good.
Yeah. When he fucking laid into Dennis Leary on, what was it?
Who was I talking about that on? It was
The Colin Quinn
Colin
show.
Quinn. Yeah.
I forget what it was called.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up because
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've seen that. But so I watched the Comedy Central roast as a kid, and then I remember it really started to pop off with Tom Segura and Bill Burr had specials on Netflix because we had just signed up for Netflix, so I was like, oh, what's on here? Oh, stand-up comedy specials. Because we watched SNL every night, every Saturday night when I was a kid, and it got to the point where I could stay up that late. And then the Comedy Central roasts I would watch when I got home from school and my parents weren't home.
Nice.
And then Bill Burr and Tom Segura on Netflix were the first guys to have Netflix specials.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. They were the first ones.
Yeah, they were the first ones I think Netflix picked up.
Yeah.
So I really got into stand-up from that. And then I emceed my high school talent show my senior year of high school, and I wrote a bunch of jokes for that.
Okay.
So that was I guess my first time doing it.
Yeah.
And then I went to college, and I saw that there was an improv club or some comedy clubs, but I just was more focused on selling drugs and having fun.
Sure.
And
And then you found out later you could do both.
I could do, and I probably would have made a lot more money selling drugs if I was doing stand-up comedy.
That's right.
I probably would have been a lot better at that.
Yeah. You would have got spots. Everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then I came to New York, and I was more focused on playing music when I moved down here.
Okay.
I played in a really terrible grunge punk band for a little while.
That's on brand.
It was fun. And then that band kind of crumbled apart, and I was just oh, I'm just gonna do stand up. I just had that realization. So then I went to an open mic, and then was oh, I need to do that again. And then it's been 2.5 years of doing 3 open mics a night.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I would imagine New York is a good place to start.
I think it's a terrible place to start.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why is that?
The insane level of competition. It makes so much more sense to start in a smaller market wherever you're from, or the closest decent sized city to where you're from.
Yeah.
Start there. If you have the smallest amount of potential, you'll rise to the top of that scene to the point where you'll get feature spots, and you'll host at the local Laugh Factory, Helium, or whatever. You'll rise up to that point, and then move to LA or New York when you have 3-5 years of comedy experience and you're actually decent, and then you show up in town and people are like, oh, holy shit, this person's new and they're good. You're automatically in places, and you like know people from emceeing at whatever club because so-and-so goes on tour and you host for them, so you may have connections that you can hit up when you're at the point where you're moving to the city. Versus in New York, people like big people who are regulars at the Cellar now saw me do my 3rd open mic.
Yeah.
And like I'm just a brain associated with being dog shit at comedy.
Right, because there's people that flew past, I guess for lack of a better term, flew past and ended up at the Cellar.
Well, or they like, I remember going to open mics with people who were like at the top end of like not really doing open mics anymore.
Gotcha.
At the time.
Right.
And now 2 years later they're at the Cellar and it's
Right.
like, oh shit. But they saw me do my 2nd open mic, and that's probably my perspective, and they don't remember me at all. But I think it is helpful to move here when you're decent, as opposed to try and get good here, because there's just so much competition, and the comedy scene in New York is so overcrowded.
Right. Yeah, I can see that line of thinking as well, and I've heard pretty much what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I, you know loads of people that have done that. The thing that New York has that I think helps the development of stand-up is there's so much opportunity.
Yeah.
There's no other place where you can do mics literally all day. Like you can do a mic at 12 in the afternoon till 12 at night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get good so much faster here.
Yeah.
Just
it's just that everybody's good.
It's not supportive, and it's not supportive at all.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
a supportive environment is the worst possible thing for being good at comedy.
I've heard that.
Because
I've heard that.
it's
Yeah.
like if
Stand-up works better in broken places.
Because I'll see it where like someone who's used to doing really fun supportive open mics,
Yeah.
where everyone laughs at everything, goes up at a not decent open mic, and they don't tell jokes, they just talk, and they're used to people laughing, but they're not really like saying anything funny. They're like, "Oh, what's wrong with you guys?" And it's like, "No, it's you."
Yeah.
And once you're 2 years into doing comedy in New York, and you start to go out to other places, I've done comedy in San Francisco. I just did a bunch of shows in Paris.
That's fucking sick.
It was sweet,
Yeah.
and you're just automatically way better than most people there,
Yes.
just because you've been slamming your head into a brick wall in New York for 2 years.
Yeah.
So you're like actually good.
What was it like in Paris?
It was so awesome.
Yeah?
It was wild. The first show I did there was there's a crowd of about like 20 or so, and I was standing outside hanging out and talking with people, and the guy who was producing and hosting the show was like, "All right, like there's not a whole lot of people there. Do you still want to do the show?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't care. Let's do whatever." And he's like, "There's really not many people." So we walked down, and there's like 20 people.
Yeah.
There I was like,
What are they used
"This
to?
is awesome.
Yeah.
Like this is sweet."
Yeah.
There are 20 people that want to see a comedy show,
Sure.
and it was a weird mix of people where it was like a bunch of random expats from like mostly Southeast Asia, like a bunch of people, like a handful of people from India, Pakistan, some Lebanese people, and then there was like a handful of French people too, and it felt the way they reacted to things. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like their first time ever seeing stand-up comedy.
Really?
Yeah,
They were that
it was
into it.
They were like, it was electric.
Yeah.
Where you could like say anything and they would lose their minds laughing.
That's the best.
And it was
It's like a hypnosis.
crazy.
You
Yeah.
almost, sometimes when shit just works, like you're firing on all cylinders, you can almost do anything. You can walk a certain way and people will laugh. Like, it's great when it all works, you know? And it almost, in the back of your mind, after the end of the set, or maybe even during the set, and you're like, I'm fucking murdering. it makes all the awful open mics kind of worth it.
I love awful open mics so much.
Oh, they're great. Yeah, they're awesome. Once you make peace with how fun they are,
I do not care about doing comedy at shows.
Yeah.
That's so much. That sounds. I mean, it's not good.
Book this man.
But
he doesn't give a fuck.
I do not care at all. Like doing comedy for people who like bought tickets and are like looking forward to a good show sounds so miserable.
Yeah.
It's like, what? You're expecting something good.
Yeah.
And like it's nice to do like, okay, I'm going to go up and do prepared material and it's going to be a good set and people are going to laugh.
Yeah.
Like that's fine. But it's much more interesting for me to go up in front of 3 people who listen to an ungodly amount of stand-up comedy, are exposed to so much dog shit, and it's nearly impossible to make them laugh, and then you just talk out of your ass for 5 minutes and see what happens, and like just do everything you can to make people laugh with things that you're saying on the top of your head. That's much more interesting for me than to be like, okay, these are jokes I know that work, and I will say them to people, and they will laugh.
Sure.
It's boring.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Right.
But ultimately, that's what I want to do.
That's
so
the
like,
goal. Well, yeah,
that's the goal.
Until you start getting paid for bullshit.
Yeah,
open
like
mics.
and it does feel good when you're like on a good show and you have a good set and everyone laughs. I'm like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that feeling sticks with you for like an hour. Where like, oh, that was a good show. Nice, that was fun.
Yeah.
Like that carries with me for an hour. But if I'm able to like have some line pop off the top of my head while I'm just riffing and bullshitting on an open mic, I remember that for a month.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I just pulled something out of thin air and it worked.
Yeah, it feels so good.
Yeah.
It feels good to go up and like have damn near nothing and just fuck around, say words. Like you just say, it's weird. Like you could just say the right coupling of words or the right sentence that just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. And eventually, like, I had this day yesterday where, like, I did 2 open mics, but I ended up writing, like, I came up with one really good line. Actually, 2 really good lines that I'm, like, excited to see how they develop from doing those. And that's, like, much more interesting to me, like, coming up with a good idea that I'm like, I know this is funny, and there's a lot of places I could go with this. Like, the writing is so much more rewarding for me than the getting on stage just validates that the writing is good.
Right.
But it's like, okay, oh, yep, that writing works.
Well,
on to the next.
What's cool about stand-up is that you can, if you're not going up, but you're writing, you're still technically doing stand-up. You know, like you're doing your part. You know what I'm saying? Like if for example, I was doing this, I'm sure you've had times where you do too many open mics.
Oh, yeah.
And you run out of shit to talk about, you run out of shit to say, whatever. And I took like a week off. I didn't do any open mics for the last week. My first day back was Sunday. And all I did was write that whole time. And you still feel like you're progressing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to do at least, like, I'll very rarely go a day without doing stand-up.
Sure.
Very rarely.
Yeah.
But I'll write every day.
You write every day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of it.
Sit down to write or just jotting?
Sit down to write.
Yeah.
And I'll jot down notes. Like, mainly it's just ideas that pop in my head. I'll put them in my notes app. And then I'll find out, like, half an hour, 45 minutes every day. I'll, like, sit down and actually just stream of conscious dump out words.
Yeah.
And then see what happens.
Yeah. Sometimes you can find some shit. You ever, like, type something out and it's not, you know it wasn't necessarily funny. Like, it could just be your day, but you find something in there that you could run with.
Yeah. That's where my best bits come from, is they're not like, this is a joke, but it's like, oh, just something that happened to me. That's really funny. Yeah, I feel like that's where the best stuff comes from.
Right. Yeah, and the writing part, is a discipline that not most, I don't want to say most, I don't want to speak for all of them, but a lot of comics have a problem with that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came into stand up from writing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was doing some like fiction writing workshops, short stories, essays, things like that. And then I was part of this writing group for a little while. That had they do a monthly open mic where it's like people read their short stories or whatever. And I wrote down this thing that I was like, oh, I think this is funny. And then I did it, and like it did really well. And then I did stand up for the first time not long after that. So I came into it from writing.
Sure.
I've since been banned from doing that open mic.
Really?
Yeah. Which
was it because of what you wrote?
Yeah, I think of it as a credit.
That is nice.
If you get banned from literary open mics,
Yeah. That's good.
That is an accomplishment in comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's so funny because you've had a bunch of different like creative outlets.
Yeah. I think it's good too. Like I started doing comedy relatively late. Like 25 is late. That's too late. But like I was playing music, I was writing, I was doing all this other stuff. So I think I got better way faster than if I started like at 22 and was like didn't have. I also spent like years 18 to 25 like drinking and doing drugs every day, and like there's like a legitimate problem there.
Sure.
So like that actually helps too, because I have an amount of life experience. I'm still relatively a child, but like I have a level of life experience. So I'm like, oh, I have good stories.
Right.
And I've like seen things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, both are. I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages to both. Like if you started at 18, you'd be talking about, or before that, if you were 16 or 17, you'd be talking about nothing.
Yeah. But you get good at the craft of writing a joke earlier.
Yes.
And that's still,
you get reps.
Like I'm not necessarily. I sometimes come up with a good like setup punchline joke, but that's not really my like style.
Yeah.
It's more of like stories and ideas.
Yeah, funny ideas. And I feel you. Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I mean, I think it's good to learn how to do everything. But obviously develop your own style.
Yeah. That's why I love doing an occasional roast, is because that is straight up just joke writing.
Yeah.
It's like, set up punchline, set up punchline, set up punchline. And it's just a good exercise at that. And it's fun to write with an assignment. That's like where you have a deadline.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I need to do this. This is the due date.
Right.
It's like kind of goes back to school where it's like it's work. But I like that. I find that really motivating.
It helps.
Yeah.
For sure. That was the motivation behind me doing that those God jokes that I do at my open
that's
mic.
fun.
Because it's like I would otherwise never be writing a joke about fucking Quetzalcoatl. Like I'm kind of forced to sit down and write about this.
It's good to have a topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that the best shit to joke about is stuff that everybody kind of relates to in a sense, but not too fucking like everybody has jokes about dating.
Yeah.
Right? But it's got to be like a specific I feel like you get specific
if you have a unique take on it or something.
Yeah.
I think the best jokes that are the stuff that I come up with that I like.
Sorry. I thought you were just saying that the stuff that you come up with are the best.
No. No, it's all everything I write is bad.
Yeah.
But I've gotten to the point where I need to care about it.
Yeah.
I need to I need to find it interesting in some way, because dating is a boring ass topic.
Sure.
It is. I mean, that's unfortunate for me, because most people in between the ages of 22 and 30 who would come to the shows that I would get booked on find it an interesting topic.
Right.
Because it's relatable and everyone experiences it, but I find it so boring.
Well, those people are fucking idiots.
Yeah, which is unfortunately the majority of the population.
Yeah.
But I find like the topics I find interesting are like death and money.
Yeah.
And like deep feelings of inadequacy.
Yeah.
Like that I actually find interesting.
That gets you ready. Do you ever find that you have problems writing jokes about something like dating? Like, because I have probably no jokes about dating. And I don't even try to write them because I'll sit there and I'm like,
yeah,
I'm an idiot. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I don't really care about it.
Yeah.
I've briefly tried like the premise that dating is easy. But I do a lot of things that are for me.
Sure.
Especially at an open mic where it's like dating is easy. All you have to do is find someone you can tolerate waking up next to more than you can tolerate being alone. Like, I actually find that interesting.
That is nice. Yeah.
But people don't want to hear that.
Well, it goes back into those feelings of inadequacy.
Yeah, people don't.
So much.
People don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
That don't try to find someone special.
Yeah.
Find someone that you can tolerate more than you can handle being alone.
Just tolerable.
Like
that's all it takes.
Yeah. That's. But yeah, I don't really try to write jokes about dating.
Yeah.
Unless it's some extraordinary thing or a unique life experience. Yeah. Who cares about it?
I think what I was kind of asking was, people usually have problems finding unique premises, whereas I don't think I have that problem. I think I have a problem writing about a premise like dating or a premise like some shit like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's too hard for me to find unique premises.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just finding premises that are accessible.
Mm-hmm.
But that's part of like I went through this path for a little while where I was like trying to write jokes that are so uniquely like so entirely relatable. Like I have a joke about. Did you hear this bit of mine about being boring? How I want to be boring, where my greatest joy in life is Friday.
No, I don't think so.
Where like I want my greatest aspiration, my greatest achievement in life to be making it to Friday. Where it's like, hey, it's Wednesday, 2 days till Friday, am I right?
Yeah.
And then Friday comes and you do nothing.
Yeah.
Just absolutely nothing. Maybe go to brunch, and then Monday comes and you're like, oof, Monday, am I right?
Right.
4 days till Friday.
Yeah.
And then you just save up enough money looking forward to Friday or you look forward to Friday for 30 years until you've saved up enough money to die.
Right.
That people don't generally laugh at that part.
Yeah.
But
that's for you.
That's for me.
Sure.
That's for me.
Which is
like
important.
that's a good universally like thing where it's like, okay, everyone has that. It's like, oh, almost Friday.
But you're saying that you want that for
I
your
want
life.
that.
Yeah.
That seems like a good life.
Sure.
It's easy. There's no you don't have to figure anything out.
Very few
It's
moving
just
parts.
simple.
Yeah.
You just got to make it till Friday.
Yeah.
And
then the big Friday is death.
Yeah. That's
Just 30 more years
yeah.
and we'll be,
That's it.
Well, the cool thing about creating anything is that there's an audience pretty much for everything. I hate when I hear someone try to tailor their shit for a specific audience. Like, do your thing, do whatever you want, but I believe that there's an audience for pretty much anything.
Yeah.
If you think about it, think about the stupid shit that you watch, like those satisfying videos when they're like mushing shit in the press.
Yeah.
Like, who would have thought that those would be popular up until now? It's almost like the audience doesn't know what they like.
Yeah, no, I think it's an unfortunate thing that there's an audience for everything.
Yeah.
Because that means a lot of terrible things are made.
Totally.
But yeah, there is an audience for everything. I heard someone say this recently where like ultimately, and I think this is universal in all art forms, is that you are working towards your skill level matching your taste.
Mm.
And some people have like pretty low taste in comedy, where it's like, oh, I want to hear you talk about your dick and your cum and your farts.
Sure.
And that is good stuff.
That's nice.
Those are great things.
3 great premises right
Yeah,
there.
those are great.
Dicks.
Those are great things.
Yeah.
But I also think my taste in comedy is a little bit more cerebral. So I need to get my skill level is so far away from my taste right now.
Yeah.
So that's what we're working towards.
Sure. That is I've never heard that. That's a good metric, I think.
And I noticed it when I was playing music too, where like my taste was relatively advanced. Well, it started off pretty simple, but then as you like learn more about music, your taste advances, and then it got to the point where like my taste was so far beyond my skill level, or where I was like listening to jazz, but I can't play jazz. So like, it's across the board.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that. What did you play? Like new instrument?
Guitar, and I sing a bit.
That
And
makes sense.
then I can make my way around a bass, and I can kind of poke around at a piano too.
Sure.
I grew up playing violin.
Ah.
I took violin lessons for a little while.
That's a crazy instrument, I think.
Yeah.
Any instrument where you have to use a bow
Yeah,
is like another thing.
yeah. I wish I picked like the guitar or the piano or something. But I didn't want to play. I didn't want to pick guitar because even in the 4th grade, I was a hipster. I was like, "Yo, everyone's playing the guitar. I don't want to play the guitar."
Yeah.
So I
Play
picked
a violin.
Dumb.
I met this fucking jack dude at the gym. Fucking huge, jacked guy, and we're talking. And he's like, "Yeah, I play the violin." Fucking
yeah.
huge. And he's like,
He's probably sick at it.
He probably is really good.
Yeah.
And he's like, he doesn't train his grip because he doesn't want. He wants
gentle.
Yeah, he wants to stay
That's
gentle.
nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's just jacked but skinny little fingers.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
He couldn't climb a rock climbing wall to save his life.
Yeah, I remember my violin teacher, Brenda.
Yeah.
Had these like frightening, like frail, skinny fingers, but they just moved so like peacefully, and it was like, oh damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the trumpet player that has the lip. You ever see a guy that's played the trumpet a long time?
Oh yeah.
Their lip like you're fucking.
Yeah,
Pokes out.
I read Miles Davis's autobiography.
Oh, that must have been these right there.
Yeah. Oh,
Staring at us.
dude. And he talked about how when he was going to school as a kid, he carried a bag of rice, and he would put a bunch of rice, and then like spit with his lips using I don't know whatever the right shape is.
Yeah.
On his way to school every day, he would spit out grains of rice
to practice
to build out that muscle.
Yeah.
Like, that's next level.
Fucking dedicated. I mean, that guy obviously
So good.
one of the best ever.
Do you like Chet Baker?
Fuck yeah.
I love that guy so much.
Hell
I was
yeah.
just in Amsterdam and saw the window he fell out of and died.
Oh, I didn't know he fell out of a window. And
Yeah, he
died.
fell out of a window.
Damn. Is he on heroin?
Yeah, heroin was probably involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some story about he was like trying to get who knows.
That guy's great. Moved to Italy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but there's a story where he owed a dealer money, so they kicked in his mouth and like fucked up all of his teeth.
Yeah.
And the doctor was like, "You're not going to be able to play trumpet again," but he did it.
He fucking did it. And sang. Really, I mean, one of the best voices.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I loved like that album. Chet Baker sings, "I fall in love too easily." It's so good.
It's so good. Let's get
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah,
I'll come right here, Gabe.
dude. That's my I loved walking around the city, especially when it's like cold and rainy, listening to that.
Yeah.
I just wander around the West Village listening to Chet Baker, and I'm like, yeah, this is it.
This is life.
Yeah,
I've made it.
yeah,
Yeah. There's a lot of moments when you're like in New York where you feel that.
yeah.
You're like, this is cool as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Hanging out in like a jazz club. You go to jazz clubs?
I used to a lot, not so much anymore.
Yeah.
But I used to go to them so much. My favorite one, I don't know if it's still around. I think it's still around, but it's under like different ownership. It was 55 Bar
Okay.
in the West Village. The place was awesome.
Yeah.
It was just tiny, but it was always so good.
Smalls is a good one.
Smalls is great.
Smalls
yeah,
is
I went
nice.
to that for the first time not too long ago. I want to go back.
Yeah.
Smalls is good. Village Vanguard, I think, is my favorite.
Really, I haven't been there.
Yeah. It's so cool because that place has been around since like the early 50s. And I saw Ron Carter there,
Okay.
who is the most recorded bassist of all time.
Really?
Who he played with Miles on like 3 of his albums.
Damn.
And like everyone's played with him, and it was just insane because he's like 92, and he's been playing bass professionally probably since he was like 16. So like just to see someone at that level, where it was like breathing to him.
Yes.
It was
like
just
language.
Absolutely insane to watch him play. Because I think this happens with jazz music and other kinds of music, less so than pop music and other art forms, where you can be doing it a long time and be successful and still put out good shit. Because I feel like when someone gets rich and successful at most art forms, their quality of work goes to trash. Just because they don't have struggles.
Right.
They're not like challenged as much in their day to day. Especially with songwriters. It's like trying to listen to some of Paul McCartney's new songs. It's like, dude, you're out of touch.
Yeah.
He hasn't had to work for anything in so long.
Right.
But with jazz musicians, they just get better and better and better because it's just technical ability and some imaginativeness and creativity, but it's just technical ability.
Yeah. And it's exciting.
Yeah.
Because they're improvising when they're off the melody, of course. The solos are so fun.
Yeah.
If you get to like just even watch a jam session, it's so fun.
And it's one of those things where like you can listen to that at home, but you kind of space around and your mind bounces.
Yeah.
But there, like after a little while, sometimes I find it takes me a couple songs to like warm up and to like get in the flow of focusing and listening. But then once you get there, it's so great. You just lose yourself in it.
Yeah. And it makes you better than people.
It does.
When you like jazz music.
That's the most important thing with everything.
Yeah.
Is being better than other people.
Yeah.
That's honestly what keeps me going throughout the day.
Sure.
Is, even if I like am going to a bullshit job, getting on the train in the morning, I just look around at everyone and think I'm better than you because I'm an artist.
That's right.
That's what it,
and it's true.
That's what it's all about. That's my only motivator for doing anything.
Yeah.
Is there are ultimately two kinds of people in our society, and those are the people that buy tickets to see someone and the people that they are seeing.
That's right.
Like that's really what it boils down to.
And people are paying top dollar to see us.
They're not paying anything. In fact, we're paying to be seen.
Exactly.
But we can dream.
By each other.
Yeah. Yeah, we're paying to be seen by other people that are paying to be seen.
Yeah. Well, it's like jazz music, reading books, lighting candles. All those things make you better. Typically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like
absolutely.
when I'm on the train and I'm reading a book, I'm like, look at that idiot on TikTok.
Oh, I've gotten to the point where I'm on the train where I try not to look at stuff. Every once in a while I'll be watching videos or something.
Yeah.
Or I'll read something. But I just try to I keep my eyes up.
Yeah.
And I think I'm better than you because I don't have to be entertained right now.
Right.
I can exist in this moment.
You're solid.
I don't have to be distracting myself with anything.
Right. You're comfortable. Your mind is open, free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the new trend, right? Raw dogging. They call it raw dogging trips, right? There's like people that they go on planes, like real long plane rides, and all they do is watch the plane. Like, you know how there's a screen that says
I've done that.
where you're going? They don't listen to music. They don't do anything. They just watch that. You've done that?
I've done that.
How long?
I've flown here and back and forth to L.A. so many times that sometimes it's just like almost like blinking and I'm there.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. You just
Yeah,
watch
you
the
get
thing.
that when you fly a lot.
It's
I'm
like meditative almost.
I'm better than that because I just stare at. I turn off the screen.
Yeah.
And I just stare at my
The
own
blank
eyes.
screen.
Yeah.
In a dark reflection of an LED screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I am.
On a tube flying through the air. Just the only thought is I'm better. I'm better.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fucking sick. Well, man, let's put a bow on this motherfucker.
All right.
Gabe, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks
this was
for having
fantastic.
me. This is fun. It's good stuff.
Where can people find you? Do you have anything to promote? Social media?
You know what?
If people are still listening.
This is the message that I will leave you.
Yeah.
Don't find me.
Yeah.
Because what you're going to do is go out and be better than people. Be someone that attracts. Be better than people. Look down on everyone. Because you are better than them. And everyone sucks. If you are doing anything with your life beyond looking forward to Friday and your workout class and the game and getting drunk to forget how sad you are, you're better. So don't find me.
That's right. Hey, guys, thank you all so much for listening. We'll talk to you next week. Peace.